Hello everyone, welcome to our Thursday night Facebook Live. We are jumping in here tonight with a brand new topic. I've had a few of you guys asking me about intermittent fasting and fasting in general. I have a lot of people that typically message me and say, I tried a 4-day water fast, or I tried the master cleanse, or they've done juice fasts and all of these different types of fasts out there, and they're wondering, is this really helping their gut? Because the second that they reintroduce food, their symptoms come right back, they're in a lot of pain, and it doesn't really fix anything long term, and so they've got a lot of questions. So I thought we'd just hit this right on the head and make sure that we're getting all of the details out and we start talking about them, because the truth is there is a lot of practitioners out there that are promoting fasting in general, and we're going to break down each of the different types. But they're promoting fasting, but they're leaving out some really critical details that are hurting your gut. And so tonight the question is fasting good or bad for your gut? And so I'm going to say overall the answer is yes, it's good for your gut, but there's some things that you need to know. Hey, Kristen. So we're going to get started. My name is Alyssa, nutritionist, gut expert, and we are going to dive into this topic right now. So first and foremost, we need to just get the bad stuff out of the way. Okay, we're going to talk about the wrong way to do fasting, the negative that can come from fasting, so that we can get that good and clear. And then I'm going to teach you all the good stuff that can come from fasting, but most importantly, the proper way to fast. Because there's a lot of you out there that are doing fasting completely wrong. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing with the bad component of fasting that I need you to be aware of is that long-term fasts, they're not good, my friend. They're not good. Long-term fasts are not beneficial. Now, what is long-term? Anything over 24 hours. Anything over 24 hours, we're really starting to push it. And what starts to happen is studies have shown that long-term fasting actually depletes your microbiome, your good bacteria. And we spend so much time talking about how your good bacteria are actually helping your gut, because they help with digestion, they help to keep bad bacteria out, they help with your immune system, your hormones. So many different components of your health are a result of your microbiome. So we don't want to be harming them. So long-term fasting is not the answer. So that's the first thing that you need to know. Now, what is that? I'll give you a little bit more details of, I had a couple people specifically talking about how they tried water fasts. Not great. What is your body running on? What is your body thriving on if you're not putting any fuel in your car? So that's a problem. That's part of the problem. Even juice fasts, we'll just hit this on the head too. This is, again, controversial. Some people are going to say, oh no, juice fasts are where it is at. But again, studies have shown that those long-term fasts are not the answer. So what else is not great? The thing that you need to remember, the second thing that's not great about fasting for your gut, is that many of you are abusing this tool. So the way that I like to look at fasting is like it's a tool. And it is a helpful tool in doing many different things for the body, which we're going to dive into deeper in a bit. But when you abuse the tool, it becomes not effective. So let me give you an example of how you might be abusing the fasting tool. If you are fasting daily, then you've lost the tool because your body gets used to it. It becomes immune to it. So it doesn't become an effective break or tool for the gut. It becomes this just pattern for your body. Okay, so that's part of the problem. The other thing is, again, long-term fasts are going to be problematic. That's one way of abusing the tool, because the body doesn't get into the groove of knowing how to properly digest, balancing out the microbiome, strengthening the gut lining, because you're always in a fasted state. right? There's not enough fuel, there's not enough energy there to support healing of the body. So, abusing the tool. So it shouldn't be done daily. If you are eating 1 to 2 meals a day and you have called it intermittent fasting, that doesn't work, okay? So I have people in my community, they say, I find that my body just does best on 1 meal a day. And they call it intermittent fasting because that's what everyone's talking about right now is intermittent fasting. But eating only 1 to 2 meals a day is not intermittent fasting. That is starvation. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference between intermittent fasting as a tool and starvation, which is not getting enough fuel. And when you're not eating enough fuel on a daily basis, then your body doesn't go into the benefits of fasting, it goes into starvation mode. And that is problematic because then the body is, instead of in rest and digest phase, it is in a fight or flight stage. So what that means is it's under stress. So it's further depleting bacteria. It's thinking to itself, I don't know when I'm going to get fed next or if I'm going to have enough fuel. So I better pack on this meal that this person just fed me. I better pack that and store it so that if I don't get fed later, I'll be good, right? So this is where we start to talk about weight issues. If you are holding extra weight or you're struggling to lose weight and you're one of those people that's saying, I eat 1 to 2 meals a day and I just find my body feels good on it and it's called intermittent fasting, that is not intermittent fasting, guys. That is abusing the tool, okay? So the third mistake that's happening with fasting is that most people don't actually know how to properly break their fast. And so it's important to know that you can't just stop eating cold turkey and then reintroduce like a massive meal or what would be like a regular meal for you. Your body has just taken a break from food. It's taken a break, it's taken a rest, it's cleaning house, cleaning out the old gucky stuff that's been caked on the gut walls, okay? And now we just send in a big, huge freight train. Your gut is going to be like, okay, whoa, throw me a bone. I just finished doing all of this repair work, and now you're going to bog me down again. We want to gently introduce your body back into food so that we're not hurting the gut, but also so that you're not spiking your blood sugar. Remember, you have just been fasting, so your blood sugar is on the lower end. And if you go in with, again, a full meal, especially with carbs, then what's going to happen is your blood sugar is going to go through the roof. And now that's a problem. Now we're going on this roller coaster ride of blood sugar. So it affects, again, your good bacteria. It affects the overgrowth of bad bacteria. So these are the 3 things that I find people are doing incorrectly when it comes to fasting. So again, long-term fast isn't the answer. We need to use it as a tool and not abuse it. And the third thing is breaking your fast is just as critical as doing the fast itself. So let's talk about some of the benefits that come with fasting. And I'm going to start to use the term more consistently here, intermittent fasting specifically. So fasting in general is not the answer. Intermittent fasting is in fact beneficial for your gut. And I'm going to teach you why it's beneficial and how the heck to do it the right way. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is that intermittent fasting has many, many, many benefits. And you can look up on the World Wide Web to find out about all the darn benefits. Everything from heart issues, weight issues, gut issues, hormone issues, blood sugar issues, you name it, intermittent fasting really is going to benefit you. But I'm here to talk to you about your gut. So I'm going to talk to you about the benefits that are specifically helping you with your digestive system. So first things first, intermittent fasting is really effective for reducing inflammation. What it's doing is giving your body a break. It's kind of like if you're constantly working and, you're being a mom, an employee, a spouse, and so you're doing your job, you're taking care of the kids, you're doing housework, you're doing groceries, you're doing all of the things, but you're never ever resting. You're never refueling and recharging so that you have time to rest and heal. It's the same thing with your gut. Your gut needs a bit of a break once in a while. And that's why we talk a lot about easy to digest foods like soups and stews, I would say warm smoothies. And so avoiding raw vegetables, cooked vegetables, these types of really easy to digest foods are critical for helping to heal your gut. But we can also take it one step further by really taking a complete break for a short period, and that's what we call intermittent fasting. So when you hit the pause button on constantly loading in the food and shoveling in the food and shoveling in the food, what the body has a chance to do is clear out the gut. And when we clear out the gut, then the gut is actually empty. We don't have residue of undigested food particles hanging out in there. The body and the gut specifically is now able to heal. And it is with that constant burden of undigested foods hanging out in the gut that we end up seeing situations like leaky gut, and that is the root of inflammation. So you see what just happened there? By taking a break, you're getting rid of that backlog of undigested foods so that the body can heal, and that is how it reduces inflammation for you. So that's the one cool part. Okay, let's talk about pain. It reduces your pain. Same thing, because inflammation is a root of pain. We got to give your body a chance to catch up. It's constantly under stress. It's constantly going and pushing. And many of you guys are sitting at home and you are, again, experiencing diarrhea or constipation, and you're uncomfortable, you're bloated, you're scared to leave the house because you don't know where the toilet is, or you're taking laxatives to finally have a poop, or you're taking Imodium so that you can get to your day job. And the problem is that that is all stressful, but your body is constantly under stress. And that is creating inflammation. That is weakening your digestive system. And then again, your foods are not being broken down properly. They hang out in the gut undigested. It creates leaky gut. It creates inflammation. It creates pain. And so that's what we're talking about here. We are giving your gut a break so that we can reduce the inflammation and the pain. All right. Now, the other thing is that what they've found, studies have shown that when we're intermittent fasting, the goal isn't to, have a long period of time of just not eating. The goal is actually to, as well, reduce your food intake and have lighter food days. Okay, so Desiree in our community, I just saw that she had posted on one of our photos or comments or pages or something. I saw it somewhere, Desiree. But you had mentioned, I love fasting. I feel great when I do it, but I don't do it because I can't get all my food in on those days. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to get all your food in on those days. The goal is to have a lighter caloric day, a lighter day of food, so that your body has a break. Now, I'm not an advocate for calorie counting. I do not believe in calorie counting. And in the Love and Trust Your Guts program, it's the last thing that we do. We teach you how to balance your food groups, and we balance your plate with confidence so that you know which foods to eat that are going to help you feel better instead of which ones are going to land you on the toilet. Okay? So it's not about calorie counting. But what studies have shown is that when we're in a caloric deficit, meaning you burn X amount of fuel and you are eating less fuel than you need, so a caloric deficit, you're not eating as much as you need, they've actually shown that with that period of intermittent fasting, it actually strengthens your gut lining. It helps to reduce gut permeability, which is leaky gut, holes in your gut lining. So that's really awesome, because that is one of the underlying root imbalances that we have to fix here, guys. So tremendous results can come from intermittent fasting. Now, I know that so many of you are sitting at home thinking, okay, we know what's not great about it, and we know what's great about it. How the heck do I do it, right? So let me teach you the easy way to intermittent fast. First, do it while you're sleeping, okay? You're already fasting each night, but we want to make sure that you're getting enough fast time. So a safe amount of intermittent fasting is 14 to 16 hours. That you can do daily. Okay, so what that looks like is eating dinner at about 6 or 7 p.m. and eating breakfast at about 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning. So that gives your body a good break to do some healing, do good healing work. Now, I like to take intermittent fasting just a little bit further. And I like to get to about the 16 to 18 hour mark. So what that looks is, again, you can finish dinner at about 6 or 7 at night and then take your fast to 11 or 12 the next day. So basically, you're just omitting breakfast. You're starting with lunch. You can have your afternoon snack and then dinner. So you're having a light meal day. Again, to be perfectly crystal clear, if you are doing this every single day and calling it intermittent fasting, that is not correct, okay? You cannot do this every single day. It is meant to be a tool. If you do it daily, your body will go into starvation mode, and then it's no longer a tool. You should be intermittent fasting if you're going to do 16 to 18 hour fasts, max 3 days a week. Again, your 14 to 16 hour fast, that can be daily. But when you go to your 16 to, I'm going to even say a 16 to 24 hour fast max, that can only be happening 2 to 3 days a week. Otherwise, we've lost the benefits of the tool. Okay? So we know what hours we can fast now, so you find what works best for you. But let's talk about how you break your fast. So we've talked about, you don't want to just jump right back into a big, massive meal, right? We want to ease your body back into food. It's just taken, let's say, an 18-hour break. And if you shove in, a full, even if it's well-balanced of like sweet potato, chicken, some vegetables, that's a well-balanced, healthy meal, but it's too much after a fast, too much. So what I like to suggest is easing yourself back in with liquids. So here's how it can look. I love to break my fast with gelatin powder. Now, when you're breaking a fast with gelatin powder, or bone broth is another great option, or even a collagen powder, this is going to maximize your gut healing benefits that came from the intermittent fast. Okay, so when you break that fast with something really healing like gelatin, collagen, or bone broth, which is all accomplishing the same thing but slightly different, each of them are slightly different, what those 3 things are really great for is healing the gut lining. They're healing the GI tract. So if you're getting that raw pain in your stomach, if you're getting that bloating, if you're getting mucus in your stools, diarrhea or constipation, if you're getting signs of inflammation happening in your gut, then breaking your fast with, again, gelatin, bone broth, or a collagen powder is amazing. Amazing. Okay. Barb says, are you drinking water or green tea on a fast or nothing at all? Great question. I'm going to come back to that. So that's one way that you can break your fast. So what I like to do is make it into a hot chocolate, homemade. I've got the recipe on my blog. It's gut healing hot chocolate. And I think the blog title, actually, Libby, if you're watching this, can you tag the blog for our hot chocolate recipe? So I'll have Elizabeth put the recipe into the comments below. If we don't get to it tonight, it'll be tomorrow morning. Don't worry. But that recipe is exactly what I break my fast with. So I make a yummy homemade hot chocolate with gelatin powder in it. And that's a great way to start to introduce your body to food for the day. It is a sugar-free recipe because, again, we don't want to break fast with sugar, even carbs. So that brings me to the next thing is, what meal then should you eat? Well, I suggest keeping carbs out of the picture after breaking a fast. even if they're healthy, like sweet potato, quinoa, brown rice, squash, these are all really healthy carbs, but they're higher in sugar. So we don't want to introduce the body back to food with sugary foods. So I suggest sticking to protein and vegetables. So I have my hot chocolate, gelatin hot chocolate, and pretty well right afterwards, I'd say within the half hour, 45 minutes afterwards, I will eat some sort of protein and vegetables. So it could be chicken and broccoli. It could be eggs. I'm a little bit weird. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I love doing like 2 fried eggs on some spinach. Okay, you can steam the spinach down if you're struggling with your gut. If you've gotten to the point where you have healed your gut and you're okay to introduce some cooked or raw vegetables, then you can do the spinach by all means. But cooked veg and a protein is going to be a great thing to follow up that hot chocolate with to reintroduce foods back into the day, or back into your body for the day. And then from there, you're going to have a light snack in the afternoon and light dinner. And that's your day. You've given your body a break. Amazing. Thanks, Libby. I see you just post that hot chocolate. Amazing. So you guys can see the link in the comments here. Actually, Libby, that's our old link from our other blog. So we want to update that link. Okay, so we'll get you the right link in the comments and we'll go from there. So let's just talk about what you can do while you're fasting. So while you're fasting, there's a few different things that you need to be mindful of. A true fast is consuming things that do not create an insulin response, okay? So it doesn't stimulate digestion, basically. So what you want to do is make sure that you're obviously drinking lots and lots of water. So critical. One of the reasons that long-term fasting is problematic is because it depletes the body. It depletes the body specifically of sodium and your electrolytes. You become dehydrated in a sense. And you might be thinking, how is that possible when I'm drinking all that water? It's because you're not getting any fuel into your diet. You're not getting any fuel in your body. So what we need to do is make sure you're drinking lots of water. But the other thing that I love to do is spike my water, okay? And I love to spike it with Himalayan pink salt. And the reason that I love doing this is because it offers your body the minerals that you're lacking because you're not eating. So I will add a pinch of that right into my water and make sure that every time I'm drinking water, I've got a pinch of that pink salt in there to ensure that I'm getting the proper minerals so that I don't end up dehydrated during my fast. You're again also going to get those important minerals. So that's one thing that I love to do. Now, one thing to be mindful of is that you can actually drink your coffee during a fast, although we know overall as a whole, I'm not a huge advocate for caffeine because of its effects on the gut. But if you are one of those raw caffeine kind of people and you just can't live without it, then you can technically have caffeine on the intermittent fasting days, but here's what you need to know is it can't have sugar or dairy in it because that is going to stimulate a insulin response. It's going to stimulate a gut or digestive response, and now you've technically just broken your fast. So other things to be mindful of for those of you that like working out, BCAAs, we might think these types of powders that you might be adding to your water or smoothies, you might be thinking that they're fine, but a lot of them create an insulin response. So sticking to my personal favorites are green tea and then having my water with salt added to it to make sure that I'm staying hydrated throughout the fast. And that also, I find that salt curbs the hunger. So let me just see here. I know we've got some other questions going on. Okay, what type of bone, chicken or beef broth is most beneficial? It's neither. They're really both beneficial. The biggest thing that's coming from bone broth are the minerals, and the collagen specifically is really great for healing the gut lining. So you're going to get that from either. What's really important with broths is that if you're making your own, make sure you don't just buy like chicken, like random chicken bones, for example. You want to go to a butcher and buy the bones or the parts of the animal that people typically don't want to eat, right? It's like the claws and the beaks and like the joints, like the cartilage joints and like the gross parts of the animal that we never want to eat. That's where those good nutrients are, in the marrow from the bone. So making sure that it's not to say that a bone broth of just like a chicken breast bone won't be beneficial, but it is to say that you're going to get a lot more good nutrients from getting sort of the plethora of other types of bones and parts of the animal that we don't typically like to consume. Okay. Kim said, is cooked broccoli bad? No. Generally speaking, no. The biggest thing that you will hear me say about foods is there are no such thing as good foods and bad foods. Ain't a thing. Ain't a thing, because do we really believe that our bodies were designed to reject good quality whole foods? Nothing gets me going more. Nothing gets me, I'm trying not to swear, really trying to be a good girl. Nothing pisses me off more than when I see other practitioners, bloggers, and people out there fear-mongering, creating fear around health foods. Health foods aren't the problem. Your gut is the problem. Broccoli is not the problem. Your gut's the problem. Okay? So everyone needs to take an individual approach here. Everyone needs to take an individual approach. You need an individual, customized nutrition plan. The low FODMAP diet, the GAPS diet, the AIP diet, the specific carbohydrate diet, the keto diet, the paleo diet, all of these diets are not going to be the answer. So just, is broccoli good? Yes, it is good for you if your body likes it. If you're not reacting to broccoli, then I say enjoy it, Kim. Enjoy the broccoli. In fact, tonight I'm going to be eating broccoli, cooked broccoli, and I'm going to be sprinkling nutritional yeast on top of it. For those that are looking for a cheesy flavor without the cheese or a cheese alternative, sprinkling nutritional yeast on your cooked vegetables is a real great treat, so you can give that a go. Okay. Barb says, is the salt okay with blood pressure? Great question, Barb. Really depends on the person. Salt really isn't necessarily the problem, but what I will say is it needs to be taken on an individual basis. The thing with blood pressure, and I'll say as a whole, the safe one-size-fits-all answer will be coconut water. No, not for a fast, actually. I was going to say coconut water is great for electrolytes. It's a great way that you can hydrate your body without the pink Himalayan salt. However, on a fast, coconut water won't do the trick because it will break your fast. A lot of them have sugar in them, actually. So, Barb, it depends on the person. That's what I can say. Okay, awesome, guys. So, what else did I want to make sure I cover is... Yeah, we kind of talked about we talked about fuel while we're fasting, after the fast. I think we've kind of covered it all. The biggest thing with intermittent fasting is, yes, it is absolutely beneficial for your gut when we use it as a tool at most 3 days a week. We make sure that we are giving ourselves a long enough time to fast, like at nighttime, for example. You want to be fasting for at least the 14-hour mark, but bringing it up to at most the 24-hour mark. You want to make sure that you're staying well hydrated while you're intermittent fasting. And the last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is that if you are experiencing hunger during a fast, try to not just ignore that, because what's really important to note is with long-term fasting, one of the problems is that you're going to experience hunger, and ignoring that hunger cue stresses the body. And then it spikes your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone. And that becomes even more detrimental than the benefits that you would get from a fast. So if you're experiencing a day where you're trying to fast and you're like, I should be doing this for my gut, listen, there are some days that are just not the right days for fasting. If you're, haven't gotten enough sleep, or you're tired, you're a little bit stressed, like some days are just not the right days for fasting. So if you start getting like ravenous in the morning and you're like, I'm going to keel over if I don't eat something, then let it go. Eat your breakfast, let it go. There will be many other days to fast. Ignoring the hunger cues and just plowing through is part of the reason why your gut is a hot mess, because we have been taught to just push through, suck it up, live another day with the pain. And that's what we need to undo. So listen to your body, enjoy intermittent fasting, respect the tool. And if you guys have any questions, drop them like it's hot in the comments, and we will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.